race-winning owner, Chip Ganassi. Chip, I believe this is your first win at Auto Club Speedway, but you said it a number of times.
Exactly. In NASCAR, yes.
In NASCAR, right? And coming in here, you said you like winners. And after a number of runner-up finishes, Kyle finally made it to victory lane and pretty dominant performance. Talk about it from your vantage point.
Yeah, you know, first of all, I thought that race was never going to be over there at the end. I was thought we were having a pretty clean day there until the end. And, you know, it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work. You know, I've spoken to a lot of you about just the, you know, we made, everybody said, what is it this year? What is it? You know, why are your cars good? Why this, why that? And, you know, I keep saying in this business, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to be good, and it doesn't take much to be bad. And you know, we just made some small changes over the winter in our organization. We try to look at places that need improvements, and we make improvements. You know, I think obviously a lot of it's down to Kyle. I think he's starting to mature in the series and learning what the cars will accept and what the cars won't accept in terms of you know, in terms of a race. You know, putting a weekend together, putting a whole, you know, putting together practice, putting together qualifying, putting together race practice, a race, you know, pit stop after pit stop after pit stop, keeping your head in the game. I think he's matured a lot in that manner, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Great, thank you, Chip. I want to open up 2 questions for Chip. Go to Holly and then up here.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Hey, Chip, congratulations.
Thank you.
Could you also speak about that it's not, you know, Kyle winning is huge, but Kyle and Jamie, both of your teams have done so well this year, and today was another example of that, but
Yes.
It's been the whole organization.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, you know, with Jamie was 6th today, right? And 6th? Yeah, yeah. And, you know, again, can't say enough about, you know, you know, it's hard sometimes when you have a group of so many people involved in these teams, so many people back in Charlotte, you know, back at the home base, you know, putting the cars together, building our own chassis. You know, that was the subject of a lot of talk the last few weeks. You know, finish fab, you know, on the shake rig, in the wind tunnel. It takes so many people and so many long, hard hours. And you know, you like I said earlier, you make it just takes little changes. And little changes can, like I said, take you to the promised land. They can take you to your day of reckoning too, you know. And I think that the fact, I couldn't be prouder. Every team owner wants their cars, they want their cars, you know, to be like this on the track, not, you know, not one in the front, one in the back, you know. So that's really rewarding from a team point of view. I think it validates the way that Max and Chad and Matt run the team, and Tony, you know, the way they run the team. I think that sort of validates their MO, if you will. Yeah.
Go up in the front here.
Okay, Presto Cars and Competition, congratulations as
Thanks,
always.
Kay.
You've always excelled in no matter what kind of racing you've done, and as a race driver too. Did you anticipate that the car was that good that he could do a clean sweep this weekend like he did? And how did you feel when that last caution came out and he came in for tires?
You know, I'll be honest with you, I forget what you know, well, the last, was it the last caution he came for tires? I think it was 2 cautions from the end, maybe he came for tires. Yeah. And I will tell you, I did not have the nerve to make that call. I would never have, you know, that's why there's guys that do that way better than me. I used to do that in my younger days, you know, run the cars and that, but I don't do that anymore for that reason. And that was the winning call. I mean, that was obviously the winning call. And so my hat's off to Chad Johnston for making that call. What was the rest of the question? I'm sorry.
Did you expect there to be such a clean sweep this weekend?
No, nobody ever expects that. I do know that I think when Kyle comes back to California, he's got a little more spark in his step. You know, he's kind of his, you know, I wouldn't call this his home track, but at least it's probably, you know, one of the tracks that's closest to his home. And he's got a lot of fans here in California, obviously, you know, from Northern California. But yeah, I think he likes this place. I think you know, this Michigan. I mean, he likes a lot of places, as you've seen the last few weeks. I think he excels a little more here, and I couldn't be happier because I think early in his career, the bigger tracks, he took it was a little bit of a learning curve. you know, some of the more high-speed places, he went through a bit of a learning curve that I think, you know, none of us, you know, just let's say went through a learning curve. A little more than he did on a short track. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
We'll go to Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. As he was going through the learning curve, was there ever a point where you thought, would you learn faster, or is he ever going to learn?
Yeah, no, I don't think, Bob. I think, you know, I think I was talking to someone this morning about that, how, you know, everybody wants to compare these drivers coming up to, you know, to Jeff or to Tony or to, you know, this guy, that guy, whoever they want to compare to. And, you know, they always say, well, Jimmy Johnson only won one Xfinity race, you know. I mean, everybody's got these sort of little one-liners that there's no answer to. And they want to compare everybody. And I think today you have to look at these guys coming into the sport you have to look in their totality, where you have to, you know, you have to look at their situation. You got to look at who the team is, who the, you know, who's working on the car, who's engineering the cars, who's doing the pit stops. It's not just an automatic come in and, you know, 100 races later you're winning races on a regular basis. I think I just think that takes a little more education than that today. You know, I mean, you have to peel a little more of the onion back to get to that kind of analysis today. You have to look more in the totality of the whole situation these young guys come in at. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Yes, it's a big onion these days, getting bigger. Yes. Yes.
John Hervold, PopularSpeed.com. Chip, I was just wondering, how much do your IndyCar drivers pay attention to the NASCAR side?
Yeah, they do. It's all one team. You know, they're all you know, tweeting each other and texting each other and congratulations, and it goes all ways on the team. You know, to the sports cars, to the Indy cars, to NASCAR. They're all three of them are. It's really nice because they get there's a lot of you know, I think there's a lot of speed in that, if you will. You know, having teammates. You know, you know, you have a question are you going to get an honest answer from people? You know what I mean? And you know, you sort of have a little bit of best practices come into play. You know, that I think there's a lot of speed in that. I think the other teams learn from each other. The drivers learn from each other. Maybe they don't learn how to drive at, you know, California Speedway in a stock car, but I mean, but they learn lots of other things, and I think they all play off one another, and they motivate each other, certainly.
Gentleman, right?
Chip,
Yes.
Mike Arthur, Sports Life Magazine. You've had a lot of great drivers who've driven for you over the years. How would you rate these two who've just had an amazing start to the season?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to say that you know, that they're I don't know, with Jamie. I mean, look, he's proven himself on the, you know, at Daytona and the Brickyard, those kind of races. I think with Kyle, he's just, you know, I don't think anybody knows. I mean, I think the runway is, you know, he's got a lot of runway and a lot, you know, we didn't have the engine spooled up yet, and you know, we got a long runway to go. So, I mean, I think he's just scratching the surface in terms of what he's capable of. You know, I have no idea what he's capable of. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Yeah.
Any questions from the media center? How about the Terrace Press? Skybox Press? Okay, we have one more, wrap it up here, and then we'll welcome the race-winning driver and crew chief.
Chip, there he is. Dick and Ware, the Motorsports Report. Two-part thing. We were talking about speed and your teams and stuff. So in a situation when overall your whole race team, do Mike Hall and like Chris Simmons, do they all talk to these guys? And
Lots of interaction between Mike and Max and the engineers in both places, and you know, they like I said, it's something that they sort of feed off each other, and develop a best practices situation.
now here's the second part of this question. If one of these guys came to you, like Kyle, and said, hey, that car Scott Dixon's got looks kind of fun. Can I do some laps in that at Indy? I mean, I run around the Brickyard. I know the track.
May's only a couple months away. So.
Yeah, could I
Told me
could I
to
drive
worry
that
about
car?
one
What would
cup
you
race. Now we got two.
What would you tell him? What would you tell him if one of your guys or Scott wanted to drive?
They're
Kyle's
always,
car?
all the cars are available to all the guys to drive anytime they want, you know, I mean, they know that, and I mean, you know, it's in terms of, you know, taking a guy, you know, to the Indianapolis 500 or something like that, that's another story, but I mean, but they're sure, if they want to get in, absolutely. No reason why any of them couldn't get in any of the cars at a test or, you know, someplace they like, you know, sure, yeah,
Just would be fun to see him in a
sure.
I'd love
I
to
think
do
it's, I think, you know, whenever he's ready, yeah, whenever he says he's in, just show up, you're in, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chip. Obviously, you're welcome to
Thanks,
stick
everybody.
around, but
See ya.